Happy Wednesday. Today is March 12th, 2025. I'm Ozark's first meteorologist, Tom Schmidt. Today's headlines. We're looking at another round of NOAA layoffs from the National Weather Service and the National Oceanic Atmospheric Administration. An estimated 880 NOAA employees were laid off back in February, and now the agency is being asked to identify an additional 1,000 positions to lay off pretty soon. That's probably going to be later this week on Friday or early next week. We'll find out exactly what the impact is. But this has obviously raised some concern from meteorologists, including right here at Ozarks First. So, look, I've spoken with the folks at the Springfield National Weather Service, and these are stressful times for them. There's no getting around that. Now, thankfully, our local weather service here in Springfield didn't have any layoffs back in February. They did have some open positions that are no longer open, but nobody got laid off. But, who knows about this next round? An additional 1,000 employees potentially losing their jobs again before the end of this month here in March. Meanwhile, the Little Rock National Weather Service office did lose a couple employees. Latest I heard was about 5 employees from the Little Rock office were laid off in February. And that office serves our northern counties, our southern counties in northern Arkansas for us here at Ozarks First. And so we'll feel a little bit of an impact from that. But first of all, let's jump into some quick facts about NOAA and the National Weather Service. First of all, they have a budget of $6.8 billion annually. Roughly 13,000 employees work at NOAA and all of their subsidiaries. There are 122 weather forecast offices in the United States. And again, here in southwest Missouri and northern Arkansas, we are served by the Springfield Weather Forecast Office and the Little Rock Weather Forecast Office. Now, NOAA's products include their daily forecasts, some of which we're seeing now on the video, severe weather watches and warnings, tornado warnings, winter weather watches and warnings, wildfire forecasts and wildfire warnings, a variety of hurricane products. You have flood products, avalanche forecasts and advisories, aviation forecasts, shipping forecasts, and various shipping products like boats at sea. Those ships is what I'm talking about. Space weather forecasts, satellite traffic control is something else they control. They also manage U.S. fisheries and marine sanctuaries, and the list goes on and on. There's a lot that NOAA is responsible for. And look, maybe NOAA is involved in too much. Or there may just be too much for them to handle. Maybe it is too much. And there probably are, if we're being honest, some things that could be made private and they'd be just fine. But the cuts are being made across the board with little to no guidance, unfortunately, coming in from DOJ or from the Trump administration leaders. Now, that causes concern, right, when they're cutting across the board. This causes concern in that forecasters are being laid off. The folks that issue those tornado warnings are being laid off. The folks that launch the weather balloons, they have been laid off already, and there likely will be a few more staff shortages that create maybe these gaps in that weather balloon network. We've already seen the weather offices in Albany, New York, as well as offices in Maine and Alaska have also indefinitely stopped launching weather balloons due to staffing, plain and simple. Now, this is a problem because a weather balloon creates the starting point of our forecast. That data from the weather balloon is then ingested into these computer models, and that's where we get our starting point. It's a combination of the weather data, surface observations, and some satellite data. Those three things, and there's a few more things that, of course, physics and calculations go into these numeric models to create their forecast. That's what we mean. We're talking about the models. And now we're eliminating one of the factors that goes into making those models. In some cases, we still have a pretty strong network. But this is a problem because a weather balloon, again, creates the point for that forecast. It creates this kind of mesh, this network of weather data, if you will. Now, it may not be a big deal on a nice sunny day like it is today, but when the weather starts to get active, storms are in the forecast, well, we want to see that data. We want to know what it is. Now, it's really unknown how we're moving these specific balloon sites. Again, there's still many spots are still launching balloon sites. There's only 3 that I know have that have indefinitely ended or suspended balloon launches for the time being. And that's one in Alaska, one in New York, and one in Maine. Okay, so there's still largely the puzzle is still in place, but we are starting to take some pieces out of the puzzle, and so we just don't know enough about what that's going to mean for forecasting going forward. Is that still enough data to create this network and a foundation for us to begin with? It could be, but it could also cause some issues there, some changes. But the bottom line is we just don't know. But we'll find out as time goes by. Now, the Weather Service also provides public open source data to everyone. Now, private companies use this same data from NOAA. So that means that your weather app on your phone, including, yes, the Ozarks First Weather app and all others, uses NOAA data in some capacity. All right, now our Ozarks First, again, weather app is provided through the weather company. They have some of their own model data, their own forecasts that they put out that you'll find integrated on that app. But a lot of the data also comes from the Weather Service, right? So how are those things going to be impacted? So don't say that, oh, well, I don't really need the Weather Service. I've got my phone to take care of me. Well, the Weather Service will likely, more than likely, provides the information you need or the information you get on your phone weather app. Now, the National Weather Service is also the only, this is interesting, is also the only entity with the authority to issue thunderstorm warnings, tornado warnings, blizzard warnings, and so forth. All watches, warnings, advisories that get sent to your phone through alerts that go through our app and then get sent to you, any kind of warning activity, those come from the National Weather Service. Now, some folks try to issue their own warnings, and if you've got the, evidence to back it up, go right ahead. But the problem with those is that those are not sent out in the same capacity. Those are not being given to your phone. What I'm talking about is there's certain TV stations, there's certain folks online on YouTube that'll issue their own warnings. And, they can do their own thing, I guess, but there's no official capacity to that. And so Weather Service is the only one that can actually have that official authority to issue those kind of warnings. Now, I've met with the people at the National Weather Service here in Springfield, as well as with others. I used to work in Topeka, and then also when I was in Norman as a student, Weather Service folks there. And something that I've seen, something kind of consistent between all the people that work in those offices is their work ethic. This is a very motivated group of people. This is a group of scientists, many of them. They like to search for the answers. They're passionate about their work. They will do their best to get the job done, despite the recent and upcoming layoffs, but they don't necessarily need the added stress to the environment. So anyway, that's my 2 cents on the issue. Something else I've heard about also, one more final point here, is that the folks are laying off. You also create kind of an information gap. I've heard sometimes you're laying off the older folks who've recently been promoted or transitioned jobs. They've been gone. You've also gotten rid of some of the younger folks on this side who are coming in fresh out of school. They were also the target for these latest rounds of layoffs. And again, more to come later this week, early next week. What that does, it creates kind of this divide. There could be an information gap. The young folks maybe aren't learning as much from some of those older folks, and the older folks maybe aren't getting in as much in touch with what's going on the younger side. So there's kind of the information gap, the age gap, and the experience gap that could be growing with these recent layoffs. That's something else that has to be considered in this. Anyway, so that's my 2 cents on this issue. Later this week, tomorrow, actually, we are talking with Darren White at the Greene County Emergency Manager's Office. He'll be coming in and giving kind of his take, his stance, and his perspective as an emergency manager from the Ozarks to give his thoughts and how he uses the Weather Service and why their data is important to what he does with the Greene County Emergency Management Office. We'll have an update there for you coming up tomorrow. He's in here live at 9, so we'll have that video updated soon after that. And don't forget, tomorrow night is the full blood moon and a full lunar eclipse. So kind of interesting. All right, you don't want to miss that. Skies will be crystal clear for viewing, and it's happening late. It's a late one, unfortunately. It'll be after midnight, Thursday night, tomorrow night. Now, we'll touch on those details tomorrow as well, so join us then. Hope you can. In the meantime, have a good Wednesday. I'm Ozarks First Meteorologist Tom Schmidt.